I have a question for the girls. So imagine you're dating a guy, okay, and it's your birthday, and for your birthday he gets you, let's say, a $500 gift, okay, and you're happy, right? It's thoughtful, it's specific to you. Then you found out last year he got his ex-girlfriend an entire birthday party. How does that make you feel? He did the most. He rented out the nicest hotel in London. He got her everything she wanted the year before.
Me not care.
You don't care at all?
I don't really care. As long as he's making me happy.
Okay,
Who
you don't.
cares?
You don't
different.
care.
We're different people too.
Yeah.
It's a different relationship, and maybe like, you know, he bought her flowers every day, 365 days a year, and he didn't do that for me. It's like, well, if that's what makes her happy, he's gonna do what makes her happy.
Exactly.
I mean, I get the angle. What you're saying is like, oh, he did all that for her. Why am I not good enough? But the second you compare yourself, you lose.
Yeah.
And I agree. But I'm just saying that's how men look at like your past is like basically like you've given it for free.
So here's my question to that, because all right, I love like everything we're talking about. Okay, so to all of the viewers out there, including myself, right? You live life. There's gray area. You live and you fucking learn, right? So where the fuck do we go from here? So do I play the shame game where everybody walks away a fucking loser? Because I can do that. I've beat myself up my entire life for every decision I've ever made, right? It got me nowhere.
No.
So I value myself. I see the world differently through a series of events, right? So what the fuck comes next? Because that's where I'm confused, right? Because I'm not, it's like, if it's not like gifted to you, like even in your situation, like your dad provided you a life that like so many people would kill for. Like, you know what I mean? So that's why it's like, it sucks, because the reason I hate these conversations is because it's never about like empathy. Do I understand the scales and how someone may view you for this, that, and the third? Okay, but moving forward, then what? So okay, so I'm just gonna, like I said, make it about myself. I'm 30, single, mom. My fucking checkered past is all over Instagram. You know what I mean? I have people like you. She's a hoe. She's literally known for this. Okay. So what would be your advice to people like me then?
But I don't believe in grey area. I believe black and white. So
Okay, well, that's unfortunate, because there's gray.
I don't believe in grey area.
There's gray. There's gray in life.
You know what? To answer, wait, I'm going to answer.
Let her answer first.
I mean, I just think there's consequences for your decisions, and I just think like my best advice would be to like lower your standards, like that, because I just think there's going to be consequences for putting promiscuous stuff on the internet.
Okay.
And you probably won't get the type of guy that you could have got at 22.
Do you know what, sister?
It wasn't meant to be then.
Do you know what I'll tell you? I would say, because I'm 30 and I'm single out of a situation that actually is not because I was a hoe and I was doing whatever. People can't call me that. I made it by decision to be with somebody that hurt me a lot, and I stayed for 5 years. I came out super late. And do you know what I realized? What I learned is that I know now that I have to be selective and I have to think. If me taking longer to get to that stage is what it takes, then that's what it takes. You accept your future, you accept everything with gratitude, because as long as you're breathing, that's the most important thing. At least you've got your child. I am not afraid, because I know the quality of woman that I am. I know my value regardless of whether I'm 30, 40, 50. Yeah. Do you understand? So you don't be afraid by other people's time limits and limitations and all of these things, because it actually doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why.
No, but your value goes down as you get older.
No, that's according to you.
No, but I'm saying to men, and you have to understand your buyer.
I'll tell you why. Because since Mr. Andrew Tate explained something about status, I understand very well what that actually means. And as a woman, the quality and the value that I hold for myself is actually the kind of value and quality that a man will appreciate the status it will bring to him, whether or not I'm a virgin. Because I've worked on myself to be a woman of quality and substance. I respect myself and I handle myself as such, okay? And that is the way that you're going to actually overcome all of these bad mistakes that you've made, because who you are right now actually will make a difference if you stick to it and if you mean it and if you've always been that way. There's always another story for everybody. It doesn't matter. You'll be fine.
Do you know what I would,
just find somebody that's more emotionally mature.
Do you know what I would have said to you?
What are you about to say, Andrew? Because you just started speaking.
I was going to say...
Andrew, she said.
I said Andrew. I want to hear... Because you've been through a lot in your life. When she told me that you were going to be on and we were going to be on this panel together, I started watching a bunch of your videos, and it really was like, there's so much that you have been through, which is why you have a well of wisdom, right? And the difference between me and you is that you're glorified for it, and I am burned at the stake for everything that I've been through. And it's so funny because people have always said that we were two sides of the same coin as far as like, well, if Andrew Tate gets banned, Brittany Renner should get banned because we are all about accountability and fucking truth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been through a lot. I've been through a lot. I'm seen as used goods. You're seen as a high value man.
Yep.
So if you're me, then what? What's next?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's interesting you make that observation, and you are correct. That's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. It's unfair, I guess. The world's not fair, but that's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. Men are respected for going through things and surviving, and women are the complete opposite. They're shamed for going through things and surviving. If you look at women love scars on men for a reason. He's gone through something. They're lived.
War wounds.
Yeah, men don't want a chick covered in scars. I'll say this right now, that a woman, the more trauma she goes through, the more masculine she naturally becomes. And if you were to give me my ideal woman, I would not have wanted her to have a hard life and a bunch of trauma. I like the idea of her having a soft feminine life and being a soft person, and I can take care of her and protect her. Whereas as a man, to be a good man, you need to have been through a bunch of trauma, because if you haven't been through trauma as a man, you're a weakling. You have to have been through a bunch of shit. So the masculine and the feminine is a very interesting point there. As for, I don't know your history, I don't know the past, but we can just talk in generalizations in regards
People
to
like me, I guess, under the same umbrella. It doesn't have to be personal.
I don't know any of it, but we'll give generalizations. One of the main reasons that men are scared of a female with history is because it makes the man insecure.
Okay.
And scared dogs bite. So this is why men will snap or get angry quick, or they'll bring up if you get in an argument with him, he'll bring up your history, whatever. But a lot of it is insecurity, and it's not insecurity because the man is insecure. The female paradigm in society convinces men, any man who says anything, you're insecure. It's not insecure in that way. It's insecure in a very realistic, logical way. Like I was saying earlier, she's had a lot of life experience. Let's be honest. Am I the richest guy she's ever had? No. Am I the most famous guy she's ever had? No. Am I the best looking guy she's ever had? No. Like, what's keeping her here? And then part of it comes down to, well, am I second place? If she could do better, would she do better? Like, there's a whole bunch of insecurity involved. And that's where tiny things, like I know it sounds like dumb shit, tiny things about the favorite car brand become more important than ever, right? It's your job as a woman, regardless of how much sexual history you've had or what guy you're with, etc. It's your job as a woman to make your man feel secure in the fact and make him feel like a man, like Auntie was saying, make him feel like the man no matter what he does, so that he feels like you really truly believe he's the best choice for you on the planet. That's your job to do. Now, if you've had a checkered past, that's perhaps more difficult. You need to be more tactful with it, more tactical about it. But you have to achieve the same result. You have to do the exact same thing, right? So, yeah. It's easy for me if I get a 21-year-old virgin from some village in Slovakia and I'm multimillionaire Andrew Tate. Of course, it's a very easy. She's never had better. She'll never get better. She's never been anywhere. Boom, boom, easy one, right? But like you said, the world's not so idealistic. The reality is that people have had relationships, et cetera, et cetera. But a man is happiest in the relationship when he feels like man of the house and when he truly feels like you believe he's the best man that you could possibly ever get and have ever gotten. Because a man is jealous. I'll tell you something. I used to say this to girls as like a joke. And I used to say, truth and jest. I used to say, no, but I say it as a joke. I say, you cheated on me before I met you. And she'd be like, what do you mean? I didn't even know you. It's like, yeah, you fucked that guy before I even knew you. You cheated on me. And they used to laugh, whatever. But that's how men think. That's the male mind. Like, I love you. And you've been fucked by who? But I didn't know you. I don't care if you knew me. You should have waited. What do you mean? But that's the male mind. So he is in competition with all of your exes and all of your lifestyle and all the things you've done permanently. And it's down to you as a woman to sit there and go, how do I make him secure in himself and secure in his masculinity and make him believe that investing in me is still worthwhile because I still truly value him, despite the fact that I could do X, Y, Z. I hope that gives some clarity, but that's the answer.
So how
do you know what I would have said? I would have said, oh, for anybody in that situation, come off social media and just raise your child. So the person who meets you's got nothing to. But I never knew you. I never knew who you were because I've never heard of you before. So when I spoke to you, by the way the way you're saying like what's on the internet, let me just say, you're a nicer person than what you sound like what you perceive to be. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, oh, that Pearl's got, oh, there, she's a whore, and I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about you. And I was saying that if you didn't have nothing on social media about your checkered past, and you met somebody the same way how I met you and I conversed and I got to know you, is the same way that they would.
Yeah, and it is interesting, and it's also back to the masculine and feminine, right? Because I'm all over the internet, and supposedly I'm misogynist and I'm evil and all this crap, right? But if I meet a girl, even if she disagrees with me, in fact, I'll say this. I've never, ever met a single female who's ever come up to me and disagreed with me. Every woman comes up to me and loves what I says. But let's imagine I met this imaginary girl. She was sitting with me. And if I were to have a 10-minute conversation with her, by the time I explain the level to which they tried to destroy me, how they tried to freeze all my bank accounts, raise illegal charges against me, put me in jail for things I didn't do, put a travel ban, take my passport, all this garbage. By the time I explain how hard they tried to hurt me and failed, she'll want me. Because she'll be like, you can't kill this guy. And that's going to be it. Like, you say a bunch of shit I don't like, but you know what? You're the man. So it is about experience, and it is different. And that's a really good point about social media. Social media amplifies all of this shit. It amplifies all these problems. Everything we're discussing, everything we've discussed back to the beginning, from status to promiscuity to your past, it's all social media. Without social media, a lot of it goes away.
Yeah.
And I think that's why me and my man last so long, is that he doesn't do social media,
Completely.
and there's nothing on there about me.
I feel like, to answer your question too, because I have had people say that as a solution, and it's like, you can run, but you cannot hide from the truth. And I have shared why my voice has been so impactful and will continue to be impactful is because I have put myself out there and I have been punished for being honest. So it's like, I have been given a platform and a voice for a reason. Even sitting down in this conversation thinking there's not one person I'm probably going to agree with and probably going to want to leave, I've been called here for a reason. So it's like, I can't go against what is in my heart and what I am coded to be. And that's why I feel like it's important for me to sit here and represent people who feel like me, because it's like, I don't want to say I don't even want to say that. I just feel like I don't see a lot of women under my umbrella who feel the way that I feel. I don't see opinions shared that would be worded the way that I feel. Nothing. I feel like a lot of my thoughts are very unique, and it's kind of scary because I have been through different things. I see the world in a different place, and when I even speak online, people think I'm fucking speaking Swahili.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I know exactly what you're saying, and you're making good points. And it's just, I think that regardless of whether, like, we're talking about different positions. I compare everything to chess. I know it's annoying. We're looking at different positions on the chessboard, but the rules are still the same, right?
Okay.
No matter how bad your position is or how good your position is, you're still trying to achieve the same objectives. And you want the man to get high status, and you want the man to feel secure in himself. And I think it's very difficult. I can only talk from the male perspective because I am a man. It is very difficult. If I were to meet a woman who I liked very much, but she had X whatever, past whatever. My concerns would be, how do I know that I'm still the number one? How do I know I'm most important in her life, especially if I don't measure up in certain key metrics? And two, the second thing that's most scary for men is we understand that men are constantly after what we have. Like, your inboxes are all full. Like, they may not be with guys you want to reply to, but guys are still trying to get it. That's the male life. The male life is people are trying to take everything from me. And that's very scary, and you have to make your man really believe like that's impossible. If a man truly believes that nobody can take you from him, he's going to love you in a different way. You can give me 2 carbon copies of the same chick, but one I think might cheat in the right circumstances, and one I know no matter what would never leave me. The love I'll feel for this one is a different planet to the love I feel for this one, even though they're the same person, right? Because that's every man's biggest fear, is a woman cheating or leaving, because there's something visceral and something different about it. I know I talk things and I say men can do things and women can't and all this stuff, but like, if a woman cheats on a man, that hurts the man at a level that it doesn't hurt the woman if the man cheats on her. It's different. It's different biologically. It's different evolutionarily. Like, that's what men used to fight and die over. You talk to my chick. You look at my
cut
chick.
his dick off.
Yeah, it's like you demasculinize him on every level. Like, and this is why you see these TikToks, right? You see these TikToks. Me and my man went on a break, got back together. He fucked 20 girls, and now he's crying because I went on a date. Yes, completely yes. Because the damage level is different. It's just a different thing. So you have to understand the paradigms. You have to understand to play the game, and that's how you make men happy. And I know very well how. I like to believe that I would know very well how to make a woman happy. And I know, and whether I do that or not is a conscious decision. And that's where you get to a certain level of grandmastery, where if I get a woman, I will literally decide out of 10, how happy do I want her? Does she deserve to be happy 10? Or should I keep her like crying half the time? That it's very conscious. And women don't think that way. But I'm saying, if you're a cunning woman, you can be like that. You could be a bit more like, you know what? I want him infatuated with me. This guy ain't worth the time. That guy I want. And then when you're going to do that, just like the game of chess, if you play chess, It's not big moves that make you lose. It's small positional plays. It's that time you argued about your favorite car. It's the time you disagreed with him about the favorite band. It's the dumb shit that adds up. Whereas really, truthfully, if you're truly smart about the game, you can get him to a point after a few months where he's like, she's my soulmate. She loves everything I love. We think the same. Our hearts are connected. Boom. And then you're safe. Just don't fuck it up from there. That's the game.
But I just feel like it's so contradicting to feel like what your overall message is, which is about truth. So it's like if my truth, like if it can be destroyed by the truth, it should be destroyed by the truth. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like why it's really mind-boggling to me, because I feel like how could you even be mentally, emotionally, sexually stimulated by a woman who is just agreeable and it doesn't have her own mind. I just don't see that.
That is exactly what every man wants. We don't want you to be complete robots. We're not saying we can't have a joke with you. We can't say you can't have a laugh with you. We're not saying you can't have a personality. But when it comes to things like agreement, there is not a single man in the world who's going to say, she's too agreeable. She just agrees with me on it. She agrees with me on all the important things in my life. She's too agreeable. I want someone else. Fuck no. You're completely and utterly wrong on that point. It's a huge point. This idea that, I understand if you're a complete doormat and you set no standards, men might walk all over you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about agreeability and agreeableness as a whole. Men love the idea of an agreeable woman because it gives status and it makes the man feel like he's a teacher and it makes the man feel in charge and it satisfies his ego. And to you, they may be small, little, tiny points, but to him, they're a big deal. If I were to sit, I'm telling you right now, if I were to sit with one of my chicks or whatever, or my chick, and I'll just sit in the Lambo and say, Lambo's the best car of all of them. I prefer the Lambo. And she goes, I don't like that one. I'm like, listen, I bought them all, and I fucking said this is the best one. Shut up. It would annoy me because that's my reality. I want her to become part of my reality. It's the thing. And you talk about truth. It's interesting because the truth of your heart and the truth of your soul is to be happy. That's truth. Truth is for you to end up happy. Now, if you have to sit there and agree on a, especially on a subject you don't give a fuck about, right? If it's something you care about and you are very knowledgeable about, if it's ancient Roman history and you have a degree in ancient Rome, then fine, argue the point. But if it's cars or something you don't even give a shit about,
Make it easy.
You're missing the chance to get points on the scoreboard, an easy free throw, and you're just fucking it up, going, why? What? The truth is just play the game and win. That's the truth.
Andrew could be the best female dating.
Or just learn a couple of words like how many talks, horsepower.
Yeah,
just throw some words in, like how much horsepower has it got?
That's it.
Tate, with all due respect, not all men are like that. Some men respect a woman that has her own mind. I know you and the type of men that you're speaking on behalf of.
Let me tell you something.
Like a woman that
I understand.
will just be agreeable to everything he says. But I've dated men that just respect that I can make decisions and will actually
submissive women have their own mind.
Yeah, completely. That's the first
there's
point.
sometimes that he might be discussing stuff that he might want to be discussed. Completely. And there's sometimes we're like, shut the fuck up and let me say what I've got to say.
Yes, completely.
And maybe, I don't even believe in star signs, but my man's a Sagittarius. So all this illogical stuff and feelings and emotions and no, you don't cry about shit. Shut up, get on with it. Your head's big, get on with it.
Completely. And submissive women have their own mind, but this is something else you have to take into consideration. And this is super important and super true. The reason a lot of women don't truly understand a lot of things about relationships and how it works with men, etc., is because men will lie to you. Men lie for the same reason you wear makeup, because men fall in love with what they see. Men fall in love with what they see, and women fall in love with what they hear. So we will lie to you. So you'll go on a date with a guy, and you'll sit there and say, I don't listen to no, I'm independent, da-da-da. And what's that man going to say?
Oh, I love that.
That's exactly the kind of woman I want. Come suck this. It's a fucking lie. That is not what he wants. It's not what he wants. I'm telling you the truth of what he wants. Yeah, he can't be bothered to argue with you at dinner. Because he doesn't, and you know what? Most men aren't smooth enough to do it. I can sit with a chick and disagree with her and be funny enough and smart enough and charismatic enough and I'm high status enough and she respects me enough to listen. But if I'm just some normal dude and I start arguing with a chick, she's going to bounce on the dinner and say, fuck you.
Yeah.
See ya. So most dudes' mating strategy is just pure agreement. Yeah. Anything to get the puss because they're fucking dorks. That's fine. That's the truth, right? A real G will sit there and say, what do you mean? I don't want to hear this shit. I'm telling you the baseline of how men truly function. If I'm expected to fight and die to protect you, because that's what is expected of me by society and of you. You may think you don't expect that of me, but if we're walking down through London in the middle of the night and two guys come up with machetes, you're going to hide behind me, knowing I'm going to die. because I can't win this fight. I'm expected to die to protect you. Well, then I expect you to agree with me. I'm not here to fucking die for somebody who disagrees with me on everything. That's not what I'm here to fucking... If I have that obligation to die on the spot for you, you have the obligation to pretend you like BMWs. So do your fucking part and shut up. And that's the bottom line of it.
And you know the difference is, the only difference, like he's top G, and I'll say, the only difference between him and my man and the level of respect is money. That's the only difference.
And this is
the same way he talks, the same way he is.
I don't listen to my
but
man.
people say like,
I listen to
oh,
my
my man only owns 40,000, so he can't talk to me the way Andrew Tate talks to his. Why not?
Completely. And
no, I think money is a big factor though. Because
it's not.
In a beautiful relationship.
You can't have a woman that's paying her own bills. She's doing everything for herself.
I mean, she's a man.
And then you're gonna tell her,
of course, but I'm saying,
do this. But you're different.
Do you not work, Auntie
She
Jenny?
doesn't need to work. You take all that stress away from her.
I don't work.
Then she'll be a lot more.
Why does
I don't
money?
work.
Wait, why does money have to matter for submission?
That's what I mean. I don't work.
If you have enough money to make sure that she doesn't need to work, go and deal with her boss every day, deal with all this stress, all these bills, then of course she's going to look up to you and be like, okay, he pays my bills. You know
my man must own about 40,000. I don't work.
I'm like, you know what? I just never. I grew up in a 1% family. I never expected a dude to pay for everything. I don't know.
I don't.
But I still think like, and I just like both of my parents worked, but my mom still submitted to my dad. Like it wasn't.
The point is this: in every relationship that's beautiful, every relationship that's happy, regardless of the socioeconomic scale, regardless of how rich or poor they are, regardless of how famous they are, regardless of how whatever, in every relationship where people are truly happy, pay attention. The man is in charge. He's the top G of that house. His woman makes him feel that way. She respects him for what he does, and they are happy. We're talking about me out here in the world, social media, whatever. It doesn't matter. Every man wants to be the man of his household, the king of his castle. Every single happy relationship is the same. I genuinely implore you to name a happy relationship where the woman's in charge. Name one. You can't. They end up broken up. She leaves him. Whatever. Name a happy relationship where the woman doesn't blindly say, okay, I won't go to that concert. Name one. There is only one framework in which people are happy, with the man in charge, the woman trusts and respects him enough to let him be in charge, and they're a happy couple in relationship. Any other type of relationship is a time bomb to the end. So if you want a happy relationship, that's what you should be aiming for. You need to be perspicacious enough and think about these things and sit and go, well, that's the only way relationships work. So I need to build it that way.
I think
instead of coming along and believing you're going to reinvent the wheel.
Okay, so
Tate,
I want to,
guys, I want to,